The teacher stares at the board in disbelief. Her student, the idiot everyone laughed at, just solved the problem in 60 seconds that took her hours. The entire class is dead silent. This guy couldn't even answer basic questions yesterday. Teachers had stopped calling on him, his classmates mocked him daily. He was supposed to be a lost cause. And now, he's standing there like it was nothing. But how did the dumbest kid in school suddenly become a genius? Someone's calling his name. Bouye forces his eyes open. Big mistake. The second he's awake, the whole class erupts in laughter. Why is this absolute idiot still even studying here? Our guy has zero clue where he is right now. None of this feels real. Gotta be a dream, right? A classmate yanks his sleeve. Apparently teacher Lani has been calling him multiple times. He turns around and there she is. Slim, gorgeous, middle-aged, the kind of teacher that makes you pay attention. She's not happy though. Hidden irritation all over her face as she scolds him. Why was he sleeping? Does he even know where he is? And what does our hero do? He stares directly at her chest, just full on doubting whether this woman is actually a teacher. Yeah, that goes about as well as you'd expect. She grabs him by the ear. Since he wants to disrespect mathematics by napping in class, he can answer at the board. Now he's standing there, fear in his eyes, reading the problem under her furious glare. His expression shifts, thoughtful, almost troubled. This problem is genuinely difficult. As punishment for sleeping, he's told to solve it and present the answer before tomorrow's class. Cue the entire class laughing in unison. This moron couldn't solve this in 3 days. An idiot like him doesn't have a single brain cell for math. But something changes. His whole demeanor shifts. Suddenly he looks ready to make every single one of them eat their words. The teacher notices. Why does her student suddenly look so confident? Like some kind of scholar who already knows the answer? He picks up the chalk, starts writing. The teacher's eyes go wide, like cartoonishly wide. She's staring at the board in complete shock. He finishes writing, then calmly asks if he can use the bathroom. Permission granted. Every student squints at the board. No way he actually solved it. He probably just scribbled some random number to escape. But the teacher keeps staring. She checks, double checks. The silence stretches painfully long. Then she announces it. His answer is completely correct. He's already walking down the corridor when the chaos erupts behind him. Apparently even the teacher spent several hours on that problem because it was extremely difficult. Then suddenly his knees buckle. He collapses to the floor, mind racing. The realization hits like a truck. He's been transported to another world. Memories flood back. His real name is Chen Luo. He was a mathematics teacher, an ordinary one who dedicated his entire life to numbers. After university, he worked non-stop for years. Next year, he was supposed to receive the highest academic title. His brain is spiraling. How is any of this possible? He got Isekai'd just from sleeping during an exam? That's completely unscientific. This isn't supposed to be some comic book. He mentally calls out to Newton for help. No response. Obviously. Okay, deep breath. Analyze the situation. He's now inside a student named Bouye, a guy who was apparently a complete zero in mathematics. The entire class treated him like an idiot. But here's the thing. Based on that difficult problem, the math level in this world is embarrassingly low. Even a primary school kid from his world could have solved it. So if he can't figure out how to get back home, he'll just become the greatest mathematician this world has ever seen. So now Bouye makes a decision right there. He's climbing to the top of this science, even in another world. He starts walking again, whistling cheerfully. At the last second, a silhouette appears from around the corner. Crash. Both people go flying in opposite directions. He scrambles up with tears in his eyes, trying to apologize, then freezes. Beautiful girl, blonde hair, currently sprawled on the ground because of him. He jumps back immediately. The position they're in is way too awkward. Still, he steps forward and extends his hand to help her up. Face burning with embarrassment, he stutters out an apology. She ignores his hand completely, gets up on her own with a flustered expression, then screams. She recognizes him. Wait, what? He snaps to attention, asking if she knows him. Oh, she knows him all right. She starts yelling about how some guy pushed her during the entrance ceremony. Because of him, she ended up in an embarrassing position in front of the entire school. She doesn't stop there. This pervert definitely ambushed her on purpose. He's standing there in complete confusion. He has zero memories of this body's past. How is he supposed to know what the old Bouye did? He tries to explain. Their collision just now was a total accident. She cuts him off. Her hands fold into strange shapes. Bright fire ignites around her. He calls her naive. She stares at him like he's lost his mind. He doesn't believe in magic. So he starts mocking her, claiming he's an ancient god of darkness and spouting complete nonsense. Then a magic circle materializes in midair. Bright yellow flames burst to life. His face goes pale. Actual fire. In her actual hand. What is happening right now? She charges at him, screaming that he's an idiot who needs to be punished. All that fire is aimed straight at his body. A blinding flash engulfs him. One thought cuts through the terror. He completely forgot that magic is basically standard equipment for isekai worlds. He's mentally screaming. He just got here and someone's already throwing fireballs at him? She's still running, still screaming about punishment. Then an idea strikes. Right before she reaches him, he drops to his knees and bows deeply, begging for forgiveness with everything he's got. She skids to a halt, nearly trips. Her face cycles through confusion, disbelief, then pure irritation. A simple apology won't fix anything. But then she notices something. He's gone, completely vanished from her sight. At that exact moment, our guy is already outside, sprinting as far away from the psycho blonde as humanly possible. His mind races through everything that just happened. In this world, science and magic exist together. Nothing makes sense anymore. Then hellish pain splits through his skull. He crashes to his knees on the grass, consciousness slipping, body going limp. Everything fades to black. He's pulled into childhood memories. Calling out for his father, a puddle reflects several figures standing before a grand palace. A man presents a beautiful casket to a woman, calling her mistress, offering something to ease her sadness. The lady takes a child's hand and hurries toward a large 2-story house. Inside, while going about her duties, she accidentally overhears 2 women gossiping. The girl and child are aristocrats, but their breadwinner has died. The memories shift forward. A young boy runs to his mother with exciting news. He's been enrolled in Shandinasa Academy. This boy is Bue. His mother's face fills with worry. She warns him about the dangers waiting at the academy. Then her expression softens with sorrow. Her son looks so much like her deceased husband. More flashes. Scenes from the academy. Teachers treat Bouye with open disrespect. He makes a silent promise. He will definitely repay his family's debt. As an impoverished aristocrat, he needs to work twice as hard. But fate had other plans. He was born without magical abilities. Can't even create the simplest fireball. His academy life became nothing but pain and ridicule. Everyone constantly discussed his failures. In studies, in life, he fell into deep despair. Then, suddenly, he wakes up. A girl with blue hair hovers over him, calling his name with genuine concern. He has no idea what's happening. Bouye tries to figure out who this blue-haired girl is and how she even found him lying there. She extends her hand, offering to help him up. They need to get to the lesson on magic theory. He takes her arm and stands, thanking her with genuine confusion. Usually, nobody cares about him at all. The class is already in full swing when they arrive. The teacher drones on about the 4 basic elements. While listening to the lecture, our guy starts piecing together how this world works. People here are split into 2 categories, natural-born magicians and ordinary people. The gray-haired teacher keeps explaining. Magicians use spells, hand gestures, and spiritual power to control the elements. But here's the catch. You need innate abilities for any of it. Time passes. Classes finally wrap up. Joyful students pour out of classrooms, celebrating that the torture is over. After the lecture, the teacher notices someone approaching with a question. Without much surprise, he asks if Bouye needs something. Our guy asks the question that's been burning in his mind. Is it possible to master magic without natural ability? The teacher's answer? Nope, impossible. No innate talent means no magic. Period. And of course, right on cue, all his classmates start laughing. Everyone knows this guy has 0 magical abilities. A dude named Toby walks up to comfort him. Even if Bouye doesn't graduate, he can always find work at Toby's father's estate. Hearing that name triggers something. Bouye realizes this chubby guy is the only friend the original owner of this body ever had. Despite the awkward exchange, Tobias flashes a bright smile at his friend. They wave goodbye to each other like actual buddies. Then Bouye catches the blue-haired girl staring at him again. He asks if she wanted something. She gets flustered immediately, stammers that teacher Buani wants to see him in her office after school, then bolts out of the classroom. He watches her go, thinking about how she's been following him around all day like she wants to say something. Reality settles in. Even with his godlike math knowledge, surviving in a world dominated by magic is going to be brutal without any abilities. But maybe, just maybe, he decides to try, focuses on his hand, calls out the fireball technique. Waits, nothing. His hope dies. Despair washes over him. The technique failed, just like he expected. But then, his hand erupts in bright orange flame. He stares in absolute shock, an actual fireball dancing right there in his palm. This body wasn't supposed to have magical abilities, yet here it is, burning proof that reality doesn't care about what's supposed to happen. He lets out a relieved sigh, accepts it, then immediately starts goofing around with his new powers like a kid with a new toy. While playing around, he starts theorizing. How did these abilities suddenly appear? His best guess? The intersection of space between worlds must have done something. Then it hits him he was supposed to visit that teacher. He heads to her office and knocks on the door. A voice from inside tells him to enter. He apologizes for the intrusion and steps inside. Then his eyes go wide, face turning red. His attractive teacher is sitting in some unusual pose. He can't help but admire the view. She doesn't even acknowledge his reaction, just happily greets him like nothing's weird. He's still staring. She casually explains that she always calculates in this position. Don't mind it. Face still burning, he asks why she called him here. She gestures toward a chair next to her desk. Sit first. She steps away briefly, then returns with a pen and paper. Places a new math problem in front of him. Solve this. He starts working on it. She mentions she'll step out for a bit. Before she even finishes the sentence, he states the answer. She freezes. Asks him to repeat that. He gives her the same number. That's the correct answer. The blonde practically lunges at him, grabs his shoulder, frantically demands to know how he solved it so fast. This problem took her forever. Her expression borders on angry. Did he solve this before? She picked the number 79 completely at random. He asks if she really wants to know. Playfully, she insists. Tell me. His eyes accidentally drift to her chest, Shyly, he agrees to explain. Internally, he's thinking this teacher might actually be kind of dumb, but he doesn't waste time. Dives straight into the explanation. He noticed how she solves problems adding numbers one by one. That approach is inefficient and error-prone, though he gives her credit for still getting the right answer. She stares at her papers, confused. That's the only method she knows. He grins wide. She's wrong. He explains a different approach. Find a pattern first. Take the first number and the last, the second and the second to last. Keep pairing them up. Each pair adds to 80. He asks her how many such pairs exist. She jumps from her seat. 39! He praises her, asks her to sit, then catches himself and apologizes. Old teaching habits. Continuing, he explains that this transforms a tedious addition into simple multiplication. With this method, she can solve problems way faster. The teacher's face lights up. This is wonderful. She can already sense there's room to improve the method even further. He praises her sharp observation, explains that yes, improvements exist. After the full explanation, she goes completely still. Her brain is clearly struggling to process everything. He calls her name with concern, thinks to himself that elementary math from his world might be too advanced for her. She snaps out of it, looks away with a slightly sad expression, asks if he invented this method himself. He waves it off, says he just came up with it to make counting easier. In his heart, he knows mentioning Gauss's name would just confuse her more. She suddenly grabs his hand, calls him a genius. From his perspective, this moment feels pretty romantic. She declares a brilliant future awaits him if they keep studying together. His face goes completely red. He tries to say something. She suddenly realizes the situation. Embarrassed, she pulls away and retreats to the other side of the room. But then her expression shifts. An idea strikes her. Full of enthusiasm, she suggests Bouye become an outstanding mathematician. His answer? Instant rejection. With stars in his eyes, he declares he wants to become an outstanding magician. She stares at him, puzzled. Why? Then she slams him onto the table, insists he should study mathematics. Stop wasting his talent. Becoming a mathematician means status in society. Choose math, not magic. Without listening to a single word, he shoves her hand away. He's interested in magic. He wants to be a magician, not some math guy. Besides, becoming a great mathematician in this world would be too easy. He just introduced a few theories from back home, but that's basically stealing credit for other people's discoveries. Magic is way more interesting. She pauses, thinks, then proposes a bet. There's a magic exam coming up soon. It decides whether students can stay at the academy. His expression turns thoughtful. If he fails, he gets expelled. She confirms. If he truly wants to become a magician, passing this exam is non-negotiable. A tense pause hangs between them. She grabs a calendar from her desk, lays out the terms. If he passes, she stops trying to convert him to mathematics. If he fails, she helps him apply for a teaching assistant position. He can stay at the academy studying math. She asks if he agrees. Internally, she's already thinking there's no way he'll pass. The guy has no magical abilities. But he looks at her, face blank, eyes full of quiet confidence. He accepts the bet. Out in the hallway, he mentally grumbles about how annoyingly stubborn his teacher is, pestering him nonstop. His mind wanders. He starts imagining the earlier scene as way more romantic than it actually was. Catching himself in those thoughts, he decides to distract himself with magic practice. Then, out of nowhere, a girl with bows comes sprinting toward him at full speed. Crash. Skulls crack together, both of them topple over and hit the floor. He thinks this feels weirdly familiar, also notices something strange in his hand. When the pain fades, he opens his eyes. There's a girl sitting on top of him, and his hand is on her chest. The blonde immediately starts hitting him. Out of pure rage, she begins casting a fire spell. Orange flames erupt in her palm as she shouts the incantation. But when she looks down, nobody's there. She starts cursing. The guy vanished again. Meanwhile, our hero notes with genuine fear that if he hadn't sprinted away that fast, he'd be a pile of ashes by now. A little while later, the girl with bows marches straight to the math teacher's office. She's fuming. Complains that she ran into a pervert twice at the academy today. After venting, she gets even angrier. Promises herself she'll nail that guy with a fireball next time. The teacher just chuckles at the situation. Isabella switches topics. Proudly announces that she already solved the problem assigned to her. Took her just half an evening. Pretty sure she did it faster than anyone else. The teacher praises her effort. Then casually drops a bomb. Bouye solved the same problem in about a minute. Isabella's face goes blank. How is that even possible? The teacher explains there's a specific mathematical theory involved. Offers to show her. She breaks down the entire method Bouye used. After the explanation, Isabella's expression turns lost. Slowly, the concept starts clicking in her brain. Realization hits. She can't believe Bouye actually came up with this theory. Right then, she decides she absolutely needs to meet this guy. Asks her teacher to introduce them. Her eyes are literally sparkling. She's that eager. The teacher is a bit thrown off by this reaction, but agrees to make the introduction. A little while later, Isabella kicks open a classroom door. She starts loudly demanding to know where Bouye is. She wants to meet this guy. Now, the first person to respond is the protagonist's chubby friend. Fear in his eyes, he starts to say something, but someone pinches his thigh hard. It's Bouye himself, hiding under the table. Taking the hint, the chubby guy tells her that his friend just stepped out for business. She stares at him with suspicion, asks a rhetorical question, but she decides not to waste more time here. Tells them to call the protagonist when he returns. The chubby guy waves at her with visible relief, promises he'll definitely pass along the message. She leaves. The door slams shut behind her. Our hero crawls out from under the desk to confirm she's actually gone. After that whole performance, awkward silence fills the room. Everyone stares at Bouye with confusion. He doesn't get it. Asks his friend why everyone's looking at him like that. The bandaged guy suddenly grabs his shoulder with intense force, fear written all over his face. He demands to know what happened between Bouye and Isabella. Our protagonist tries to answer with a completely lost expression. His friend looks at him with something close to contempt. Does the main character even know who Isabella is? Now he's nervous. Cautiously asks who that girl actually was. The brown-haired guy explains. She has tons of powerful friends, the kind that can cause serious problems. Bouye brushes it off. They can't touch him while he's at the academy. His friend's face turns grim. Asks what their academy is called. Easy answer. Next question, where is the campus located? Baker Avenue. Obviously, his friend delivers the punchline. The campus is in the city of Yabo, whose mayor happens to be Isabella's father. The weight of the situation finally crashes down on him. He starts nervously scrambling for options, asks about the possibility of just apologizing to her. Then, a voice from behind, someone mentions Isabella's name. Both guys freeze, turn around slowly. A blonde dude with his crew is staring right at the protagonist, sneers that a talentless nobody like him won't last 2 days at this academy. This golden-haired jerk is called B, and apparently he's been bullying Bouye for a long time. The hero's friend steps up to defend him, but internally, he kind of agrees with B, because here's the truth. Without abilities, you can't earn respect at this academy. Plus, all second years have to take an exam soon. Anyone who fails gets expelled. The magic exam itself is pretty simple. Any normal student can pass. But Bouye, zero magical ability. For him, this exam could mean game over. Suddenly, a loud slam on a nearby table snaps him out of his thoughts. B is yelling at him now, asking if they can even hear him. The hostility is thick. The insults keep coming. Toby doesn't back down, takes on a hostile stance himself. He challenges B to a fight for his rudeness and trash behavior. B looks confused. What does Toby have to do with any of this? Why does he even care? The tension between them skyrockets. They're seconds from throwing hands. But B backs off. Face twisted with irritation, he promises to remember this, turns and leaves with his crew, warning that next time, they'll pay for everything. Bouye watches them go, face slightly pale. But he's also genuinely touched. The chubby guy actually stood up for him, proved himself to be a real friend. Getting straight to the point, he asks Toby to help him out with the Isabella situation if things get ugly. Toby agrees, but adds that, by that point, he'll have already beaten Bouye himself. Our hero just stares at his friend with glassy, confused eyes. A few days pass. The magic exam begins. The teacher announces the rules. Fail and you're out, no exceptions. Students have to stand behind a line and hit a target with a fireball. Simple enough. B goes first. His whole attitude screams that nobody here is on his level. He casts the spell quickly, fires at the target, nails it. Teacher praises him. Passed. The exam continues. Student after student takes their turn. B spots Bouye and Toby in the crowd. Smirks, tells the protagonist to enjoy his final minutes at the academy. Toby fires back, tells him to shut his mouth. Coincidentally, Toby gets called next. Without hesitation, he starts casting. A small orange flame sparks in his hands. He shouts the technique name. Fires. The ball barely grazes the target. Teacher shrugs, says he passed anyway. Almost a fail, but Toby is overjoyed. He made it. Now the teacher checks the list for the next student. He's about to call Bouye's name, then hesitates. Thinks about how this kid has zero magic skills. Feeling sympathetic, the old man tries to save him some dignity. Announces that everyone has successfully completed the exam. Pretends he just forgot about Bouye entirely. But B isn't having it. He screams for the teacher to wait, points directly at the protagonist, shouts for everyone to hear that this guy never even attempted the exam. A stands still, silent, waiting for the teacher's decision. Reluctantly, the teacher asks if he wants to take the exam. B's crew bursts into loud laughter, trying to humiliate him in front of everyone. While the crowd argues about him, the math teacher happens to walk by. Toby puts a hand on Bouye's shoulder, tells him not to worry about these clowns. But then something shifts in our protagonist's eyes. Confidence, he announces he'll take the exam. B and his crew freeze in shock. Did this loser just say what they think he said? The shock fades. They explode into mocking laughter, call him names, predict total failure. The commotion draws the math teacher's attention. She moves closer to see what's happening. The magic teacher shuts everyone up. Asks Bouye one final time, is he sure about this? Eyes steady, he confirms to teacher Anthony that he's ready. They try to comfort him in advance, tell him not to feel bad when he fails. He steps up to the target, takes a deep breath, gathers his strength. Looking ahead, he thinks about how to put on a proper show for this crowd. The truth is, he doesn't actually need spells or hand gestures, but for the sake of appearances, he'll do them anyway. He chants the fire spell. Everyone holds their breath, eyes locked on the target. He makes it look like he's giving everything he's got to summon magic. The heat coming off him makes people shield their faces. When they finally look, nothing in his hands, no spell. B's crew loses it, bursts into loud laughter. They totally choked, but then a flash of fire erupts from his palm. Fiery circles ripple outward around him. A massive fireball materializes and rockets toward the target. Impact. An enormous explosion of flame engulfs the entire area. Every single student and teacher watches in stunned silence. When the smoke clears, the target has been reduced to a pile of scorched rubble. The magic teacher stammers in disbelief. Bouye passed. B's expression flips completely. He declares, "This is impossible." Even HE couldn't pull off something like that. Meanwhile, Toby is genuinely thrilled for his friend, asks why he kept his talents hidden all this time. The teacher calls Bouye over to speak privately. The math teacher also lingers nearby, wondering how on earth he did that. In the magic teacher's office, Bouye explains that he trained every day using books and eventually mastered the fireball. Anthony shares some knowledge. Magic is a gift from the gods. Those born without abilities were called abandoned by the gods. Everyone assumed Bouye was one of them, but now the gods have apparently blessed him after all. It's extremely rare, but it happens. He encourages Bouye to keep up the pace. He's got serious potential. The hero internally sighs. Every teacher at this academy keeps trying to make him study something. Then he slips up. He thanks the teacher for the praise, but admits he just wants to return to his world. Anthony looks at him strangely. What world is he talking about? He catches himself immediately, plays it off as a joke, says his tongue slipped. The teacher doesn't push it, figures the kid has been studying too hard, assumes he's talking about the legendary world mentioned in stories about the Holy Master. Wait, Holy Master? Bouye's interest spikes immediately. He asks what the teacher is talking about. According to legend, there was once a holy master who could control space and travel to other worlds. But most people think it's just a myth. The hero stares at the teacher with intense anticipation, asks to hear more about these legends. Then he suddenly grabs the old man by the shoulders, declares that he must become a holy master. Time passes. Bouye throws himself into serious study. He researches the history of this world obsessively. Late nights in the library, all his energy poured into reading every book he can find. According to what he learns, there's a ranking system for magician power levels. 7 tiers total. Holy masters only exist in myths and legends. Their abilities were documented only in ancient texts. Many sources indicate that holy masters possessed spatial magic. They could tear through space itself and move between worlds. Though nowadays, most people believe other worlds don't exist. They think spatial magic is just fantasy. But our protagonist refuses to give up hope. Unfortunately, Teacher Antonio doesn't believe in spatial magic, which means Bouye won't be getting any useful information from him. The library administrator walks over and checks on his progress. Bouye sits there nervously as the admin tells him he's been reading way too long. Time to actually work. No choice but to comply. He takes a break from the books and gets to his library duties. After a shift, he looks completely drained. He didn't expect library work to be this exhausting. But work's done. Time for class. The moment he steps into the classroom, dead silence. Then the whispers start. Everyone's talking about his exam performance. How did he do so well? Wasn't he supposed to be talentless? The buzz doesn't stop. It just keeps building. This sudden popularity? More of a burden than a blessing. Then out of the corner of his eye, he spots her. Isabella. He shudders. Hard. What is she doing here? He stares at her, barely breathing. She's sitting in some awkward position that only makes things more uncomfortable for him. He tries to look away. Anything to avoid meeting her eyes. Too late. Isabella suddenly stands up from her chair, shouts to the entire class that she had no idea this guy was that Bouye. He sees disaster coming, tries to smooth things over, end the conversation quickly. She cuts him off, calls him a pervert in front of everyone. He's still trying to calm her down when he notices something terrifying. Fire, gathering around her again. She channels all her power into her hand, summoning flames. Panic mode. He has no clue what to do. In pure desperation, he just covers himself with his hands and braces for impact. But nothing happens. Confused, he opens his eyes to see why he's not currently on fire. Standing between him and Isabella is the math teacher. She stopped the attack. With slight disappointment in her voice, she asks Isabella why she's using magic inside a classroom. The mayor's daughter tries to explain herself, gets shut down immediately. Teacher doesn't even let her finish. Then she turns to Bouye, tells him to come to her office. But she's not done. Isabella has to come too. No point arguing with the teacher. He meekly agrees and follows. The three of them exit the classroom. The door slams shut behind them. Every student left inside sits in stunned silence, processing what just happened. One blonde guy in particular looks completely lost. He can't understand why Bouye is suddenly getting so much attention. In the teacher's office, the boy explains all the awkward situations that happened between him and Isabella. The teacher tries to mediate. Everything that occurred was unintentional. Nobody meant any harm. Under pressure, Isabella finally agrees to forgive him. The teacher shifts topics, brings up the magic exam, praises him for his performance. Their bet is officially settled. But she's still curious, asks him to explain how he suddenly gained magical abilities after seemingly having none. He denies anything special, says he just got lucky. Then flips the conversation. He has questions about magic for the teacher. She doesn't push her request, waits with interest to hear what he wants to know. He asks if spells and hand gestures are absolutely necessary to release an element. Isabella jumps in before the teacher can respond, mocks him, calls the question stupid. Realizing how basic it sounds, he hesitantly asks if there are any exceptions among magicians. The teacher explains, even the most powerful mages need spells and gestures, but the more skilled they become, the less time they need for them. Magic is a gift from the gods. The gods themselves taught humans to use gestures and spells to summon elements. To summon an element without any of that, you'd need divine enlightenment. Isabella finds it absurd that the teacher is answering such a dumb question so seriously. Meanwhile, our hero wonders internally. Maybe because he's from another world, the gods here just ignored him? The teacher reminds him this is all basic magic theory. If he wants to become a proper magician, he needs to study the fundamentals first. But actually, that's not why she called him here. She hands him a folded paper, explains it's a scientific journal. All major academic works get published in it. Isabella glances at the paper and her eyes go wide. She sees the math teacher's name in there, reacts with intense surprise. The teacher explains. She worked out the summation method Bouillet demonstrated and wrote an official paper on it. But our guy, he's more concerned about one thing. Does he get paid for this publication? Because the library salary is garbage. The teacher calls his name, hands him a small bag of money. This is his reward for his contribution. His eyes light up. This bag contains more than 2 years of his library salary. Playing it smooth, he pretends to be embarrassed about accepting it, offers the teacher to take half. She naively agrees, takes half the money. His face goes blank. Wait, she actually took it? Internal devastation. He only said that out of politeness. He didn't think she'd actually accept. One stupid sentence just cost him half his reward. Now, he really wants to leave this world as fast as possible. But then something catches his attention. He looks at the teacher with renewed interest, asks if every article published in the journal pays this much. She confirms. Every published article comes with payment. A light bulb goes off in his head. He immediately starts explaining a new theory, something from his old world. The teacher listens, then recognizes what he's describing, calls it the Rouse riddle. He looks at her with confusion, not familiar with this world's version of the problem. She explains. Rouse's riddle is a mathematical puzzle created by ancient sages. Rouse has 7 children. Each child has 7 bags. Each bag has 7 cats. Each cat has 7 kittens. The numbers aren't that large. You could technically just add them all up. But if there were more numbers, a different solution method would be incredibly useful. Isabella asks, with genuine curiosity, can he solve Rouse's riddle using another method? Confidence fills his eyes. He replies that he has some ideas. The teacher is inspired, asks him to work on this new approach. Time passes. Minutes blur into hours. Isabella, who's been in the office this whole time, gets comfortable on a chair, falls asleep. Suddenly, a scream jolts her awake. It's the teacher, jumping for joy, shouting that the boy finally solved the problem. Isabella asks, in shock, did he come up with this himself? He makes a very suspicious face, asks if she really wants to know. Her curiosity is through the roof. She absolutely wants to know. His answer? He doesn't have any special abilities. He just studies. Really, really hard. She stares at him with genuine surprise, asks if he's telling the truth. Sometime later, Isabella finds herself thinking about what he said. Then something unexpected catches her eye. She spots the protagonist in the 3rd year building. Hold on, he's a 2nd year. What's he doing there? She promises herself that this time she'll catch him red-handed. But when she snaps back to focus, he's gone. She lost sight of him. Again. If you enjoyed the story so far, don't forget to like the video, subscribe to YumeRecap, and stay tuned for the next video.